Don't do what I did, fellas. Don't let the world turn you cold. See, one of the biggest mistakes that I made in the past 10 months to a year was not trusting the wrong person, but it was rather letting one bad experience convince me that I couldn't trust anybody. See, I want to let y'all in on a little story that helped me get to this point of pretty much turning cold and becoming very distrusting and very distancing of a lot of people in my life that has caused a lot of anxiety and strain on my personal relationships. And I feel like I'm not the only one that could go through this. So this is what happened, right? So basically, it ties back into my business. I was a young barber coming up in the shop, and I had just came out of barber school, 23 years old. This was back in 2023. And I had found this barber that needed young barbers in his shop. And I asked him from the start, bro, because I already done a lot of my research and I knew where I wanted to take this business and I knew where I wanted to go. And I was asking him, can I grow in your shop? Like, am I going to have to leave to hit new levels and new heights? Because ideally, I would like to stay in the same spot. And little did I know, this is not something that you have to do anyways. You don't have to stay in the same spot as a barber your whole time. As long as you can tell your people that you're going somewhere else and get in contact with them and have their information, this is not necessary. But long story short, he told me, yeah, I will let you grow my shop. Like, you can start off on working for me, and eventually once you get your own clientele, I'll give you access to run all of your own stuff, your own booking information, your own time slots, pricing. You can do all of that. And so I really looked up to him because he's a very skilled barber. He's been in the game since 2016, and he's the one who really like showed me a lot of ins and outs about how to cut hair properly, and especially how to do straight work, like shear work with straight hair, because a lot of barbers don't know. A lot of barbers can fade good and do the trim work on top, but they can't really do the shear work, the scissor work. And so that was definitely a big moneymaker for me in my city. And it really doesn't matter what hair type it was, but that's just the lane I chose to capitalize on because it's so underserved. But long story, I don't want to like drag this out too much. I began to, as a new barber coming in with all this vision and all this idea in this new world, I started sharing all my ideas that I want to start this business and I want to take barbering here and do content, and I was showing them different things and different aspects that somebody seasoned might not be thinking of because they've kind of become jaded and used to the business, right? And really lost the passion, that new insight as a young person coming up. And so one of the biggest things I remember was I told him, bro, you should get products in your shop. You should get like a shelf and put products in there, and people will probably want to buy it and they'll use it for their hair. And he did that, and he started getting a lot of good sales from it. And I really didn't benefit from it that much. He benefited a lot from it, but I felt happy to contribute because he had poured into me a lot. He had helped clients come in my chair. He had told some of his clientele to sit with me and get cuts by me, and pointed people in my direction, and was definitely making a lot of money for me. And it was beneficial at first, but as time went on, I started to grow past this stage and I was booked out, right? And I was telling him like, bro, I want to do social media too. And the crazy part is he did social media after I started. I didn't even have a video that blown up yet. I didn't even have a video that had hit 10K views. Bro started, and in the first like 2 weeks, he got like 1 million view plus video. And I'm like, bro, what the heck? Like, I put you onto this social media stuff and you blow up past me. But I never tripped, bro. I never hated because I knew my time was coming. And when it came time for me to elevate past and go from commission and working under his system to doing my own system, bro started acting like a little weird. I'm like, bro, you told me I could grow this whole time, but now you're telling me I can't switch over to my own booking until the end of the year, and it's August, and you want me to wait till December? And then besides that, he was trying to tell me like, oh, you can't switch over now. You have to wait, and maybe you can stay on a commission percentage, but I can bump your percentage up. And I felt betrayed, bro. I felt like all of that, what he told me about how I can grow and how I can do all this in his shop. And we were talking about maybe we can come up with a program together to help barbers scale up, and we can take over social media, and we can open up another barber shop, and we can, all these dreams and all this stuff that I had in my mind that I was willing to do it. I was willing to work hard for with a good business partner. But I felt like, I don't know if I became a threat the more I grew, but the support disappeared. And for the longest time, bro, like, I felt betrayed. And this is because I was having to go to a whole new shop to go to booth rent, and I eventually end up having to search around and find a new shop because I found out that bro wanted to charge me $300 a week for booth rent when he was charging the other guy like $250 or $200 or something, or $150. I don't even know, bro. Maybe he was trying to charge me $500 a week, and he was charging the other guy like $300. I don't know what it was, but basically he wanted me as a newer barber to pay more than somebody that was more established than me. And I'm like, bro, like, I understand we agreed on like a lot, but you trying to tax me for this, and it's not even like a private suite. It's not even a private area. And so I said, okay, now I understand that business is business. So when I get to my next shop, I'm not making no friends. I don't want the boss to be cool with me, and I don't want anybody to feel like they can play me. And they can't do that if I don't let them get close to me. And so, in a sense, I became more guarded. I became more closed off. And another barber spotted that. He said that, yo, bro, you move like how guys move like in prison. Like, you're to yourself, you're quiet, you focus on what you got to focus on. And, you know, you sharp though, but you move like real private and guarded. And I'm like, yeah, bro, you know, a lot of that is because, boom, like, I realized that business is business and it's grimy out here. And when I got into my last shop, and long story short, like, I experienced hurt, and whether he meant to do that or not, whether he was taking it as just him protecting his business, protecting his money, I don't know. But I started using that as my idea that I can't trust anybody. Like, I can't give my ideas to people because all they're going to do is take them and take advantage of you. Or, you know, you can't let people in because it's never going to end well. But the thing was, I didn't realize this mindset was going to cause so much harm than good, because on the flip side, I started networking and I started meeting people that was doing way better than me, that didn't have this hostility, that wasn't trying to gatekeep and hold information, but they was giving me game. 20K barber a month in my city that's been putting me in for connections and like helping me out. Another 20K a month barber in another city. And I got to them and I started networking with them, and I told them everything, and I was asking them questions. And I noticed that as much as I felt like I couldn't let people in, maybe it wasn't that I can't let people in. Maybe it's just that the right people have to prove themselves over time. And once you let the right people in, that outweighs all the bad stuff that you had to go through to get to where you're at now. And people opened doors for me. People inspired me But I had convinced myself that one bad situation, one bad person in business when I was new and coming up, and not even, I won't even want to say bro is a bad person, but I just want to say the situation turned sour and I felt betrayed that I let that turn me cold and turn me like hardened and guarded, and it kind of messed me up a little bit with social situations, because I'm like, I don't really want to connect with you, bro, because I don't know what your motive is. I started thinking that people had ulterior motives. And so I realized this is not a healthy viewpoint to live life out of. And all I was doing was building myself into a cage. So my thing to you is that the point of this video is I want y'all to, if you don't take nothing else, be careful to not let one negative experience change your entire worldview about a certain thing. This is multiple different scenarios across life, and that's just one. And I feel like this situation is not just in barbering, but I feel like in relationships, I haven't allowed myself to get close to certain women or a woman at all in a serious relationship for fear that if I be vulnerable and I lay all my cards on the table, I might be taken advantage of, or I might get my heart broken. So I say I'm gonna do the same thing to her before she can do it to me. Or but here's the thing, bro. I hear young guys say that a bad high school coach made them lose love for the game, or in the military, bad leadership makes you want to get out of the military, or one bad cop, people see online and they assume that all cops have it out for you, or all people this and all people that. But you can't let one person make up such a big representation of everybody as a whole, because that's just one individual person. And that doesn't mean trust everybody. It doesn't mean be naive. It doesn't mean be oblivious to reality and what's going on and just start opening up to everybody. But it just means that pay attention, use discernment, but don't close your heart off. Don't close connection off just because of one bad experience, because the truth is the same way that these people can hurt you is the same way that these people can help you. It's the same way that the world could be healed, and you could be helping somebody else and you don't even know it. Like these people that I'm talking to now that's helping me out, that's putting me on game, helping me elevate my life, these guys are helping me reframe my mindset about trusting relationships and connections and it just being genuine. So keep that in mind, that the same way that you could be causing somebody so much pain and so much heartache is the same way that you could be causing somebody so much healing, and to understand that the world maybe is not such a bad place. But I would say you got it coming to you. I had it coming to me as well too, just for certain ways that I've treated people in the past and certain things that I've done, not necessarily being fake, but I would say bad relationships and certain people that I messed up over before they could do it to me. Probably certain women, especially. I know I always talk about women, but I just want to talk about real life, bro. I just want to talk about what I really relate to. And honestly, a lot of guys have women in their lives, and that's a big factor as a young guy coming up in this game, bro. So that's why I talk about that so much. But the thing is, I just don't want you to let one bad chapter make you give up on the entire book, on the entire story. And I know we got a lot of these guys in here on YouTube in this space, and they're saying like, we got to get colder. We got to turn hard body. And I think that in certain scenarios, like this could be a defense mechanism, but I don't want to live my whole life personally on defense, always on edge, always on like, well, I got to do this before she does this. And it's like that. I feel like now, in the past, I used to say, man, forget all that vulnerability and connection, and I don't need nobody. I just need myself. But that's a real, like that's not the best way to live, bro. As human beings, we're built for connection. We're built to be in communities. And I've noticed that when I do something that does involve others that's like-minded on the same path, on the same come up, I do feel much better about the world. I feel like I'm in a more positive mindset. When I'm just by myself, even though I'm focused, even though I'm trying to do what I do, like I feel disconnected and I feel like isolated. And so if you can think about this, if you can get to the same destination, the same way you can get success in isolation or with somebody, which one do you think will feel better? You by yourself with a lot of money still, but you have nobody to spend it time with, nobody to spend his experiences with, nobody to spend his joy with, but you have a team, your family, like-minded guys, a partner, a woman that you feel like matches your values. And it don't even have to just be money, but I know I'm in a pursuit of growth and a pursuit of success, so I frame it all in that. But it's different goals that come along with it too, because it could be physique, it could be relationships and all this, whatever. But I frame it through this lens so that way it can help paint the picture and I can relate to what's really going on in my life. But back to the question, which one do you think you feel like you would get more out of, right? Obviously, I feel like most people would choose the one where you have the people that make the experience great, because the same thing that can hurt you is the same thing that can benefit you, man. It's like fire. You would never use fire. You would never use heat, because what if it burns you up? But you would go hungry because you can't cook food. So you have to take that risk. Every time you go outside, you could get in a car wreck, but you would never make it to the movie night or the dinner or the beach or something. So in this life, you can't become cold and cut all ways out and paths just because you had one bad experience. And I'm preaching to myself when I say that. So the point of the matter is, I wanted to tell you, man, don't let the world turn you cold. Don't become isolated and cut everybody off just because of one sour experience, bro. I know it's hard. I know it's easier said than done, but just something I want you to consider. If you ever been hurt by somebody before and you don't even realize why you're moving the way you have, this is something I had to realize. Like, I'm like, why am I so closed off? Why am I so distant lately? And I put two and two together, man, finally. That's all I have for you in this video, man. Hope you got something value from it. And I will see you guys in the next one.